Oliver Stone's not exactly the kind of guy who would take anything at face value. He turned the official story on its head with movies like JFK and Nixon. He has strong feelings about the unfolding Patreus scandal too. In his new project, the book and documentary series, The Untold History of the United States, he challenges the accepted view of American history. And Oliver Stone joins me now. Welcome back, Oliver.
Thank you, Piers.
I loved our last encounter.
Yes, it was fun.
We had to bleep a few of your more outrageous comments, but that's why I enjoyed it. Let's talk about Patreus, because unlike many people casting their verdict on him now, you did that before all this came out, and you were pretty scathing about it. Why were you not a fan of General Patreus?
Well, the American media has come up with this narrative that he's the American hero who, betrayed by the woman, he takes the fall. It's a classic. It sells well. It's a good soap opera, but it's not true. I see no evidence of his heroism. There has been no success in Iraq. The so-called surge has been overhyped by the media as a success, when in fact Iraq was trashed almost from the beginning to the end, and it was in worse shape when he left. And he didn't leave it well. And then when he went to Afghanistan, he first of all, he conned Obama into adding 30,000 troops into Afghanistan with a plan that he would win with this counterinsurgency program. And where is it? Where are the results? They're non-existent. Afghanistan is worse off. He's supervised the Predator explosion and the missiles and into not only Pakistan and also Afghanistan. And he's exacerbated the entire region, and the people who are there are going to hate us more so for civilian damage, collateral damage. And on top of it, you know, he's built up this reputation. I mean, first of all, as a military man, I really think he's overdoing it as a showman, because he goes in front of Congress to talk about the counterinsurgency. He's wearing, if you noticed, the ribbons grow every year. He's got now like a regular fruit salad up here. Amazing amount. It looks... And it's disgusting. General Marshall, who was one of the greatest heroes of World War II, was famous for having been a modest man and going in front of Congress and wearing hardly anything. You don't need that.
I mean, he had this reputation as King David. That was what a lot of people in the forces... And they didn't always mean it as a compliment. No. They meant it as he was slightly regal.
But success. America values success. What's success in Iraq and Afghanistan? Can you tell me? Is it... He's left... There have been many weeping widows out there, and it's not worked. Counterinsurgency, our involvement in a foreign country, whether it's Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iraq I, Iraq II, it doesn't work. We go in, we have a lot of money, we make a lot of friends, temporary friends, so they know we're leaving. And when we leave, which they know we will leave, they value their lives. So they are our temporary friends.
Were you surprised when Patreus got the CIA job?
I was worried about it, because he's created again the military crossing into the CIA is very dangerous, and obviously it's a political job, but he's made it into a paramilitary force. He's adopted the Predator missiles into the CIA. They're using them as the drone attacks as well as the Pentagon, and who knows what else he's up to? But certainly his whole concept of counterinsurgency violates the sovereignty of every nation on Earth. So it's a very dangerous position we're putting ourselves into, weapon-wise. We can talk about Untold History, where we get into the issue of where we're going, America, with our weaponization of space, by the way.
On Patreus, when the scandal broke about him having a mistress, is that grounds enough
in England
for him to resign?
In England it is. You know, our Puritan morality dictates it. Certainly, it's not the reasons I would like to see him take a fall. You know, it reminds you of the Monica Lewinsky scandal and stuff like that. It's tabloid stuff. You love that in England. But here in America, you know, the truth is that he should have been long ago investigated far more severely by our media. And he got a free pass because of the fruit salad and the congressional... And in general, the entire American nation, the Congress especially, has caved into this military worship of technology. I've seen that in the last 20 years grow. In the 90s and the 2000s, we seem to they would give a pass always to the military. Whenever they want more money, you get a pass.
The sense I get over here about the military is that it's almost impossible to criticize anybody in the military.
True.
Because there's such patriotism towards it, and I get that, but it is particularly pronounced in America that it is almost seen as utter disloyalty, if not treachery, to criticize any serving military man or woman. And that is quite dangerous, isn't it? For
Very dangerous.
Any society.
You know where it leads to Rome. Go back to the Roman Empire. The Praetorian Guard became so inflated by budgets. Emperors would pay them homage and favors and pay them more money to be loyal to that faction. Eventually, the Roman guards, the military, became more important than the citizenry. And of course, they didn't hold up the empire. They were all over the place, but they couldn't hold back the barbarians and so forth. So it doesn't work. You don't bribe the military. And frankly, we could be in a position where things get more chaotic and there could be another terrorist attack, and this concept of American security is so violated that the military could act in a very negative way, in an old-fashioned way to restore order. And you end up with a General Patreus running the country by a certain form of, dictatorship.
Take a short break. Let's come back and talk about Barack Obama being re-elected, and also, historically, will you put him in context in relation to the untold history of the United States, and about this fascinating new project you have?
Well, we deal with...
After the break. John, go.
Much of our lives in a fog, all of us. But I would like my children to have access to something that looks beyond what I would call the tyranny of now. You watch the media, everyone talks about that thing, the news of the day, and all the subconscious, really important stuff that's going on is being neglected.
Tip for the new project, The Untold History of the United States, on Showtime, back me now. The one and only Oliver Stone, who you narrate this fascinating project, and I will come to that very soon. Just want to talk to you quickly about Obama. He got re-elected. You've been quite critical of him too previously. On balance, are you pleased, though, that he won the election?
I'm pleased he won the election. I voted for him. It was a better choice than Romney, but both men are operating inside a dichotomy where American security is paramount, American empire comes first, and the building up of America's power abroad, influence, is the primary objective, which falls into the old concept of American empire, which we've had since 1898, since we went to the Philippines, and it's gotten worse and worse and worse, and now we just accept it. No one in the argument, in the debate, ever questioned why we have to have such a big military, why we have to have foreign bases, 800+ bases, and why we have to... On top of it, you could talk about what Obama said, America is the indispensable nation again. We've heard this rhetoric over the years. It's a very dangerous rhetoric. We're not indispensable. We're not God-appointed. We should be very humble in the face of the prosperity we've had, but we've used our, frankly, we've become like the New York Yankees a bit, like a little bit arrogant, and we're buying what we need. You mentioned Patreus earlier, and I said, maybe, the concept of using money in Afghanistan and Iraq to bribe the Sunnis not to join us, or to bribe the Shiites to fight. I mean, it's a dirty thing that we do abroad, and people in America don't know about the dirty wars.
When you research this, how many military conflicts has America been engaged in that you think are justified?
In terms of conflicts, you mean when you're talking about little things like Grenada that become big things?
Yeah, I mean, any kind of warfare, let's say, in the last 100 years.
There's about 7 or 8 major ones since Vietnam, Korea. Korea was not necessary either, but that's another story. Vietnam starts this beginning of a decline economically in the country, and also the infrastructure and the labor markets. Where how do you say, the richest Americans have reached a level which is completely disproportionate to the rest of the Americans.
What was the point of doing this? Why did you want to make this series?
Boy, it started 4.5 years ago, and it's a culmination of the themes in my films, because I've been exploring. As I grew up, I found out more about life. I grew up conservative, very Republican. I served in Vietnam with the belief that I was doing the fighting communism. And I saw the repetition of patterns. By the time the 1980s roll around and Reagan comes in and starts talking hostile actions in Central America and messing with, interfering with revolutions, people's revolutions in those countries. I went down there, did a movie called Salvador. I don't know if you saw it.
Great movie, yeah.
Basically, I saw American troops, just like I had been a green kid in Vietnam, and I said, I asked the kids, do you remember Vietnam? And they literally said to me, no, I really don't know what happened in Vietnam. The history of Vietnam has been denied to them.
See, I think it's a fascinating history lesson, because you tell it so vividly, not just your narration, which is a very interesting way of doing it, but the images that you use, the video you use, makes it a compelling history lesson. And that's why I'd urge people to watch it, because you will learn about these events, even if you don't necessarily agree with your take on it.
That's true. I learned a lot, and we don't want to make it didactic. You see, kids are bored with history because they think they know the end. I don't agree. I don't think we know the end. I think the story is untold because World War II, we started tonight, Chapter 1, World War II. We see it from 3 sides: Britain, Russia, the U.S. It's a whole other ballgame when you look at three interests. You look at it through other eyes, Russian eyes, English eyes, Chinese eyes. If you can see history, have empathy for others other than yourself, you broaden your compassion, and we become a member of the world, of the global community. And this is what Obama has not done. Now, you know, he's basically operating as an outlier now. And you asked about our criticism of him. Our criticism is couched in the context of 120 years of history. We start in 1900, we end now. So it's a lot. And we start, you know, we mentioned Woodrow Wilson, World War I, saying America is the savior of the world, if you remember, after Versailles. So we show that this mission to be a global policeman starts a long time ago, but it certainly grows dangerous after the atomic bomb in 1945.
It's a fascinating project. Thoroughly enjoyed the book. It's a riveting history lesson.
Thank you.
You bring this stuff to life, and I commend you for it. Oliver, good to see you again.
Thank you for yours.
10-part documentary series, The Untold History of the United States, airs on Showtime. The book is available now. Thumping good read it is too. We'll be right back.